Hello, my dear students. Good morning to all. Let's start algebra today. Let's study algebra today from Gallian. Let's begin chapter 17, factorization of polynomials. So, first of all, we will study the definition. You might have studied polynomials from the class 6, I think, 6 or 7. So from then onwards we have been solving, factorizing polynomials, but some things we didn't understand that time. Now it's time to understand those concepts of factorization of polynomials. So this is the name of the chapter, factorization of polynomials, and we will study some concepts related to that. So let's begin with the definition. Let capital D be an integral domain. A polynomial fx from dx, that is neither the zero polynomial nor a unit in dx, is said to be irreducible over D if whenever fx is expressed as a product fx is equal to gx hx with gx and hx from dx, then the polynomial fx is said to be irreducible. So we have to understand that first of all we are considering a polynomial from integral domain over integral domain, that is neither the zero polynomial nor a unit in dx. Unit means invertible element of dx. So we are not considering those. No, we are taking only non-zero non-unit polynomials. So a non-zero non-unit polynomial is said to be irreducible if whenever its fx is expressed as a product gx hx, then either gx or hx is a unit. Either gx is a unit in dx or hx is a unit. Then we say that the polynomial fx is irreducible, and otherwise it is said to be reducible. As from the name is clear, irreducible means that cannot be reduced. That means that can be factored in a trivial way. So if gx or hx, one of them is a unit, then the degree, then if D is if we consider field, then fx cannot be expressed as a product of polynomials of lower degree if we are considering field. So in the case of field, we can use a simpler version of this definition. If f is a field, then a non-constant polynomial. Non-zero non-unit means non-constant, both are equivalent because the only unit elements of fx are the constant units in f, that are constants. So a non-zero non-constant polynomial fx belonging to fx is irreducible if fx cannot be expressed as a product of two polynomials of lower degree. And the reducible polynomial definition, it's very clear. A non-zero non-unit element of dx that is not irreducible over d is called reducible over d. So this is the definition of irreducibility. You have to understand this definition very clearly, otherwise you will have problems in doing questions. So we are given a polynomial, and if we write it, that is a non-zero non-unit polynomial. Non-unit means its inverse doesn't exist. So if it is written as a product of two polynomials, then one of those two polynomials has to be unit. So fx is factorized in a trivial way, then it is irreducible. Irreducible means that cannot be factored. That can be factored only in the trivial way. So either gx or hx is a unit. If this is so, then we say that fx is irreducible, and if it does not happen, then we say that fx is reducible. If none of gx and hx is a unit, then we say that fx is reducible. So now we will see some examples. First example is this: fx is equal to 2x square plus 4. So this belongs to qx as well as to zx. So if we factorize this, then we can take 2 common. 2 into, this can be written 2 into x square plus 2. So 2 is not a unit over z. So if we consider zx, then x square plus 2 is not a unit, 2 is not a unit in zx. So it is reducible over z, but 2 is not a but 2 is a unit in q. So it is irreducible over q. Likewise, if we consider this polynomial over R, then it is irreducible because again 2 is a unit in R, but reducible over C because this can be written as 2 into x minus 2i, x plus 2i. C is a field. It is written as a product of 2 polynomials of lower degree. None of them is a unit. So it is reducible over C. Again, the polynomial x square minus 2, it can be factored like this: x minus root 2, x plus root 2. So it's reducible over R, but it is irreducible over Q. Over Q it can be written like this: x square minus 2 is equal to 1 into x square minus 2 or minus 1 into minus x square plus 2. So 1 minus 1 both are units in Q. This is irreducible over Q. But over R it is reducible because it is written as a product of 2 polynomials of lower degree. Now next example is x square plus 1. X square plus 1, we have to check its irreducibility over Z3 and over Z5. So by substituting different elements in place of x, we can find if there is a 0 of the polynomial over Z3 or not. So Z3 has 3 elements, 0, 1, 2. So one by one we can substitute the constants. If we substitute 0, we get 1. If we substitute 1, we get 2. And if we substitute 2, what we get? 4 plus 1, 5, 3, modulo 3 is 2. So we are getting, we are not getting any 0. It means it cannot be written as a product of linear factors over Z3. So it is irreducible over Z3 but reducible over Z5. You can check. You can put the values 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 one by one, and you can see which element satisfies this polynomial, gives 0. So in this way you can find out its factors. So I leave it for you. Now we come to a theorem 17.1. Heading of the theorem is reducibility test for degrees 2 and 3. As we see in this example number 4, that this is a 2-degree polynomial. So 2-degree or 3-degree polynomials can be checked for reducibility by this test. What does this test state? Let capital F be a field if fx belongs to fx and degree fx is equal to 2 or 3, then fx is reducible over f if and only if fx has a 0 in f. Reducible if and only if it has a 0 in f. So suppose that fx is equal to gx into hx. We are assuming that fx is reducible over f. So we are taking fx is equal to gx hx, where gx and hx belong to fx and both have degrees less than the degree of fx. Now we will show that fx has a 0 in f. So degree fx is equal to, according to degree rule, it is equal to degree gx plus degree hx. And degree fx is either 2 or 3. So 1 plus 1, 2 is 2 can be written 1 plus 1, and 3 can be written 1 plus 2 or 2 plus 1. It means one of them has degree 1. At least one of gx and hx has degree 1. Gx is equal to, let's say gx is equal to ax plus b. Then clearly minus a inverse b is a 0 of gx. If we substitute minus a inverse b in place of x, what we get? Minus b plus b, 0. So it's a 0 of gx and therefore it's a 0 of fx as well. So we are done. One way we are done. And conversely, we assume that there is a 0 of f in f. Fa equal to 0 where a belongs to capital F. Then by the factor theorem, x minus a is a factor of fx and therefore fx is reducible over capital F. Because we are getting a factor of fx. So we are getting fx is equal to x minus a into some polynomial of capital Fx. So fx is written as a product of polynomials of lower degree. So it's reducible over f. Now we are done. Now let's come to this definition, content of polynomial. The content of a non-zero polynomial, an x to the power n plus an minus 1 x to the power n minus 1 plus dot dot plus a naught, where the a's are integers. You have to keep in mind that these are coefficients. A's are the coefficients. These are integers. So if we take the coefficients and we take the GCD of these integers, so that GCD is called the content of the polynomial. Greatest common divisor of the coefficients of the polynomial, where the coefficients are integers. That is called the content of polynomial. And if that content is 1, then polynomial is called primitive. This is the next definition. A primitive polynomial is an element of Zx with content 1. Okay. Now let's come to Gauss lemma. Gauss lemma says that the product of two primitive polynomials is primitive. Let fx and gx be primitive polynomials, and suppose that fx gx is not primitive. We have to show that we are taking that fx and gx are primitive. We have to show that fx gx is also primitive. So we assume the contrary, that it's not primitive. Not primitive means fx gx will have content greater than 1. So let's assume that p is a prime divisor of that content of fx gx. Now what we do, we reduce the coefficients of polynomials modulo p. For example, we are given fx. We take the coefficients and reduce the coefficients of fx modulo p. So we get the coefficients from zp. Ultimately that f bar x will be in zpx. So f bar x g bar x and fx gx bar be the polynomials obtained from fx gx and fx gx by reducing the coefficients modulo p. Then f bar x and g bar x belong to the integral domain zpx, and f bar x g bar x, it will be fx gx whole bar. It will be 0 because p is the multiple of each of the coefficients, because p is the GCD of the coefficients of this polynomial, because it's the content. So it will be 0 because p is 0, all the coefficients are multiples of p. So f bar x g bar x is 0. But zpx is an integral domain, because if d is an integral domain, then dx is also an integral domain. Then f bar x is 0 or g bar x is 0, because integral domain has no zero divisors. This means that either p divides every coefficient of fx, or p divides every coefficient of gx. Hence either fx is not primitive or gx is not primitive, because p is dividing every coefficient of fx. Then at least p is the greatest common divisor, so content cannot be 1, so it is not primitive. So similarly gx is not primitive. But this is a contradiction, because we are given fx and gx both to be primitive polynomials. We had taken both of them to be primitive. So we are getting a contradiction. This means our assumption was wrong, that their product is not primitive. This completes the proof. Now we come to the next theorem, 17.2. Over Q implies over Z. Let fx belongs to zx. If fx is reducible over Q, then it is reducible over Z. Fx is a polynomial with integral coefficients. It is given. Fx belongs to zx. If fx belongs to zx, automatically it is in qx also. So they are saying that if fx is reducible over q, then it is reducible over z. So suppose that fx is equal to gx hx, where gx and hx belong to qx. We have taken this assumption from the statement of the theorem that it is reducible over q. So we have written this as a product of reducible, means can be written as a product of two polynomials of lower degree. So fx is gx into hx, where gx and hx both belong to qx. Now clearly we may assume that fx is primitive. Fx is primitive because if it is not primitive, then we can divide by the content of the polynomial on both sides. So we can get a primitive polynomial. So we assume that fx is primitive. And let a be the LCM of the denominators of the coefficients of gx. We are getting on the right hand side, we have two polynomials, dx and hx. So dx belongs to qx, so its coefficients are rational numbers. So we are taking the denominators of the coefficients of gx, and we are taking the LCM of the denominators, the coefficients of gx. And similarly b is the LCM of the denominators of the coefficients of hx. So if we multiply gx by a and hx by b, then what we get? We will get the denominator will be cancelled from a. So we will get all the coefficients in z. So we are getting ab fx is equal to a gx b hx, where a gx and b hx, these are in zx. Let C1 be the content of agx. Now we can talk about content because they are in zx. So let C1 be the content of agx and C2 be the content of bhx. Then agx is equal to C1 g1x and BHX is equal to C2H1X, where both G1 and H1, these are primitive polynomials. Because AGX is a polynomial in ZX, so if C1 is its content, then it is written as C1 G1X, then G1 will have content 1, so it will be a primitive. Similarly, BHX is equal to C2H1X. So AB fx is equal to C1 C2 G1X H1X. Since fx is primitive, so the content of AB fx is AB, and we have proved that product of two primitive polynomials is primitive. It means G1x into H1x, that is also a primitive polynomial. So its content is C1 C2, content of C1 C2 G1x H1x is equal to C1 C2. So content of if two polynomials are same, then their content should be same. So AB is equal to C1 C2, and in this way we get fx is equal to G1x H1x, where G1 and H1x both are in ZX, and degree G1x is equal to degree Gx, degree H1x equal to degree Hx. So we have reduced fx to over a product of polynomials over ZX. So this is an exercise for you. Fx 6x square plus x minus 2 as a product of two polynomials in Qx is given. 3x minus 3 by 2 into 2x plus 4 by 3. Compare this with the previous theorem. Find out a, b, c1, c2, g1x, h1x, and write as a fx as a product of polynomials in ZX. So you have to do this on your own. So that's all for today's video, and I hope you will listen this, and you will study. We will try the problems and ask your doubts. If you find any difficulty, you can write in the comments. I will be happy to answer you. Thank you.